a little bit. Looks to me like this pulley is starting to wobble, and I believe it's held on by a rubber harmonic balancer, and over time that starts to wear out and this will wobble, and that'll start to screw up your belts. I'm thinking it's hard on the bearings on all your other, other things that run off the belt there. That little wobble's not too bad, and I've seen it get worse. I don't want to screw anything up on this thing, so I'm just gonna replace that with a new one. Here's a pulley tool I got. I hope it's the right one, because it was expensive. It was like 50 bucks or something. Not even a good one either. Shit, the good ones are more. This looks like... not what I expected. I was expecting to see... Hold on a minute here. Okay, I got this prick out of the bag there finally. And I don't know why. I thought there was like something in between this and the crank, but this attaches directly to it, and on the end of the crankshaft. And the rubber I was thinking of is just this little ring inside here, and that makes a lot more sense than what I was thinking. I'm an idiot, but that's okay, because I didn't have to make this. I just bought it. I think this was like $100, so it shouldn't be rocket science to do this. But I'm gonna make a video anyway, because I just feel like making a video. Yeah, it's not showing up great, but it's full of cracks. It's just cracked and dried up. I'll bet this is the original. Okay, before you get started, you always want to make sure you disconnect your battery for safety. You gotta loosen up your belt first. So down on this 2000 Cherokee, you have to loosen up that guy, and you have to loosen up this. This provides clamping tension for that pulley, and this adjusts it. So turning it left pushes the pulley away from it, and then turning it tighter pulls the pulley in, and it puts tension on the cable because it wraps around this inside part here. You can't really see, but you just gotta take my word for it. So the way you adjust it when you tighten it up is you just get your belt on, tighten that up until there's tension, the right amount of tension on your belt, and then you tighten up that guy to hold it in place. So that's what I gotta do, the backwards version of what I just described. So what? 15 mil wrench. Some jackass put that on really tight. Before I go crazy, I think I'm going to undo this, because I don't want all the tension of this belt to be pushing against that guy and possibly bend it or break it. I don't think it will. It's not intended to take that. Oh yeah, it is. What am I talking about? Still, I'm going to loosen it anyway. Oh, 15 mil bolt too. That's so handy. Sometimes, if you've never taken the belt off your vehicle and you don't have a sticker to show you the belt routing, draw a little picture for yourself. Draw it right under the hood somewhere. Somewhere inconspicuous, draw it small. Make it simple. It's really tight down here. If you want to, you shouldn't be doing tight fasteners with the box end like I'm doing, like an idiot. I'm doing it anyway. If you want to get a real socket in there, or this end, if you've got a wrench that's more flat, that's fine. You have to take off this electric fan. And that's not a huge deal, I'm just lazy. You don't have to take this bolt out very far. Look how loose this is already. I find with these things, when you go to tighten them up, you want that bolt as close to being snug as possible without it actually putting too much tension on that, because look how this wiggles. When you go to tension that up with this and then tighten that, it's going to pull it in and it's going to change the tension. So they're a real dick around. I fucking hate them. Once you get it set up, it's okay. Okay, the fun part. 3/4 inch socket fits on this pretty good. Oh. What the... So, the proper way to keep your crankshaft from turning. You got a couple of ways of doing it. If you have a manual, put it in overdrive, 5th gear, and then chalk your tires or put your e-brake on if it works good, or have someone step on the brakes. The other thing you can do, if you have an automatic like me, you can take out a spark plug, push some rope down in the cylinder, and then when the rope will prevent the cylinder from moving, and it actually won't hurt it. This is probably the safest way to stop your engine from turning. And then when you're done, you can pull it back out. I don't want to do that because I hate taking these things off. They're a pain in the dick. So I'm just going to cheat. I'm going to use my impact gun. So shout out to my buddy Scott. He had warned me that there was a washer behind that nut, and he left it on when he tried to use his puller and damn near busted the whole thing. So I'm lucky mine fell off, but that's just something to keep in mind. Make sure you get that off with the bolt. Doing this job is so much easier with the bumper off. For your puller, this is the guy that goes on the middle there. This is going to sit here. To get an assortment of bolts with this, figure out which bolts are going to work. Find that guy up at the middle. There's a spot for 3, so I'll put in 3. I'm sort of questioning these threads. I don't think they're right, but I don't have anything else. And then you bring the center guy in to press against the crankshaft. You want to make sure your 3 studs here are about the same distance away so it pulls evenly. And so you can see, I've just got a wrench on the end here, just turning it gently. Keep putting some tension on it. Oh, fuck. Excellent. Excellent. So let's back it off. Get this bad boy out of the way. Holy hell. Okay, well there's a little keyed part there. So there's only one way you can put your pulley on. I forget what they call these things. The new little tabs for the keyway. It includes them if you need them, but mine's okay. They can break, or the pulley will split, causing damage to that. They say when you have this open to change your front main seal. Mine it doesn't look like it's leaking at all, so I'm just going to leave it alone. You might want to consider doing that. They say you can give it a scrub with some emery cloth. I'm not even going to bother. I'm just going to give it a good wipe, because I'm going to paint a little bit of anti-seize inside here just to help me slip it on. I'm supposed to use motor oil, and you can do that, but I'm going to do this, so do whatever you want. Remember, this is the side that goes in towards the crankshaft, so it makes more sense to put it on this side than the other side. You don't need a lot. So remember, line up the little slot with that key. Shut. There's no bueno. Thanks to movie magic, it's the next day. Last night, I tried getting this guy on, but I just didn't have a tool to push it on. I didn't expect it to be as snug as it is to get on. I was told by someone it wouldn't be, but everyone's experience is different. You might get yours on more easily. They say you can't use the retaining bolt to pull this on, and mine doesn't even reach the threads, even if I was tempted to try. The auto parts store was the only place that was open today. It's a Saturday that carries stuff like this with this nice fine thread, and the best I could get was this guy, and I'm hoping that's just enough bite. Maybe I can snug it on just enough, and then maybe get this washer in there, because this is the one that holds it in. It's fucking huge. Yeah. We'll give it another shot today. See if we can get this thing back together. I highly recommend just, go get the tool you need if you can. They didn't even carry it, but supposedly there's a tool you can get that's intended to push these on. We'll give this a shot. Just make sure if you try this that you get one that's exactly the same thread exactly the same diameter. Alright, let's see how this works out. There we go. Okay. Very gently work this on with all boys and girls. Oh man. Sometimes working on this stuff makes you feel dumber than it does feel smarter. Half the time I get like partway through one of these videos and then I start thinking, oh my god, I'm such a buffoon. I can't even upload this. I'm such a tool. You know, these are the things that go through my mind when I go to bed at night after, like last night. I think to myself, this is so stupid. But then, even the guys with good channels, they make mistakes. I always appreciate it when they show their mistakes and explain them, so I guess if I do the same thing, it's not all wasted. This is actually going on really nice. I can feel it slipping on without resistance. It's really important that you make sure it's going on flat. If it starts going cockeyed, it's not going to work. It's going to be fucked forever. So just take your time. Going on nice. Everything's lined up good. We'll just keep on trucking on that. Bonus points to anyone who can tell me what this guy is for. It's always been under the bumper. For whatever reason, this has been clipped onto the chassis since it was built, I guess. I don't know what it's for. It wasn't connected to anything. So if you know, let us know. If you're worried at all, like I am, about the length of that bolt and those threads going in too far, you can stack washers on top here. I've just got the one. I still got a ways to go, so I'm okay for thread length. You can get a bolt that's threaded all the way to the head, like this one, that's perfect, but mine isn't. It's only threaded partway up, and then there's a shoulder, and I don't want to start forcing that shoulder into the threads on my crankshaft, because that'll bugger it up. I'm nowhere near that yet, but it'll get there, so I gotta watch it. That's what I was talking about. I don't want to jam that in there. If you want, you could take your tap and die set and your die, and you could grind some new threads up. But this is like a grade 10 bolt, I think. This is going to be a pain in the ass to try and cut new threads on. I'm not even going to waste my time. So I added one more washer. So the threads are barely sticking out of that, so I can go just about all the way on there without worrying about the threads screwing up. You can stack as many as you want. I could have probably grabbed one more just to be safe, but we're almost there. I'm just gonna switch to the regular old bolt now, the washer that's supposed to be on there. I noticed mine has sort of like a bulge on one side. It's more flat on one side and rounded on the other, so I'm gonna make sure that the rounded side is out. That's probably wrong, but I feel like that would be the smarter thing to do, because then it's sort of more evenly distributing the force of the bolt, like a really crappy pyramid. And actually, it looks like this was installed. Yeah, that's how it was actually installed. So if it's wrong, well, then me and Chrysler are wrong. Which is likely. At this point, you're just tightening it on until you get some resistance. It's pretty immediate. Like, I was turning it, and it was going and going, and then it stopped. That doesn't want to move. You could force it, but why? What you want to do now is get your torque wrench, because it's important to get this one right. I didn't even put any thread lock or anything on this bolt or anti-seize. 118 foot-pounds. Oh. We've run into our old problem again. Crankshaft turning. I forgot about that. Today's a new day. I guess I forgot everything from yesterday. I've just got a big bejesus screwdriver jammed in there. And I just noticed there was a spot in the block where it just sort of had like a detent or whatever, a raised part that this big screwdriver can fit up against. This isn't the safest way to do this. What you could do is you could put the belt back on, tension it, and have a friend hold it, a pair of vice grips on one of the pulleys, if you have a standard, same as when you're taking it off. For me, with my auto, this is the best I got. There we go. New harmonic balancer. So, if you know, this is always a good opportunity to replace your belt, but mine's good enough. Okay, we're back up top here with our wonderful tensioner. I got you at a weird angle here. Try and show you what we're looking at. So here's this stuff, and I'm just showing you. Here's our adjuster, and that ugly nut for this pulleys down here, bolt. Now, like I said before, when you go to tension this up, keep in mind that this has got a bunch of slop in it. So you want to snug it up so it's close to being tight, but loose enough that it can slide freely on this thing, which isn't very tight at all. And then you can adjust the tension on this guy. There's no easy way to do it. There's just a whole lot of back and forth, because you'll find you'll tighten this and then it's too loose, or then you'll adjust this and then it's too tight. And you just got to do that back and forth until you get it right. I can't really even describe how much tension is the right amount. I can just feel it. It's got to be tight. This is a serpentine belt. It runs all of these accessories. You'll figure it out. You can get a tool for measuring belt tension. 15 mil on this guy again. That's going to suck up our tension. When you're getting it all back together, you want to keep an eye on all your belts. Make sure that they're seated properly in all the pulleys. If they're not, you're going to have a hard time tightening it up, and it might actually damage the belt or flip off when you go to start it. So here's a diagram of those belts, and this is that pulley. And so when you're pulling the tensioner, it's pulling it in, taking up that slack there. This is an excellent diagram, I know. Thank you. As you get close to the right tension on your belt, you're not going to feel it in this bolt. You got to kind of use your head, tighten it a little bit, check it, tighten it a little bit, check it. Because like I said before, when you tighten up that bolt, it's going to put even more tension on it, because it's going to pull it straight into the bracket there. Whereas right now it's sitting a little loosey-goosey. You want that pretty tight. You don't want to break anything, but you don't want that. I don't know, I always have bad luck with tensioning these things. I usually got to loosen it and tighten it about 4 or 5 times before I get it right. But I'm going to leave that. I think that's pretty good. You'll know when you start your truck because it'll squeal. And then you know you got to tighten it up again. If you have belt dressing, give this all a spray. And the other thing you want to check is, if it's a little out, you're probably not going to notice until it's running, but just kind of eyeball where this lines up. You know, make sure it's not obviously like way out of whack here. So, moment of truth. Let's see. Well, there you have it. It's a Jeep, so it still wiggles so much it's hard to tell, but I can tell it's a little better. It's probably tough to tell on cam. It definitely needed to be replaced. Once again, thanks for wasting your time. Hopefully you learned something.